Hello, my friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. Well, guys, the Earth changes are just roaring on. It's just wild what we are seeing everywhere. This is a sinkhole in China that collapsed and swallowed 21 cars. It's not the first time we've seen these massive sinkholes in China. Think about all that water that is just saturating the ground, and I think we're going to see a lot more of this.
I think so, and it just really makes you wonder what is going on.
Well, it's part of the changes, and as you've gotten, insight from different sources through meditation and seen what's coming, and like you even said, you talked about the Earth kind of folding in on itself. And as we've said before, studies show that there's 2 to 3 times the amount of water that's in the ocean locked up under the crust.
Mm-hmm.
So, all this is interacting. It's been a while since we looked into and talked about expanding Earth theory as well, which is really something that's interesting. It might be time to revisit that in a upcoming video. So much going on all over the place, and in California as well as all over the West, like we were talking about yesterday. So many wildfires, and everywhere. As soon as we got to like around, west of Flagstaff, you could tell there's a lot of smoke. And I did see some fires, some signs of fire even before we were over in that area. And you see hundreds of wildfires burning in California, tens of thousands of people under evacuation orders. The governor is calling in help from 10 U.S. states, Canada, and Australia to tame the blazes that have scorched an area the size of Rhode Island. And what's so sad, too, is, obviously people are losing homes and stuff. There's redwood trees that are, so old, so magnificent that are getting are being consumed. It's just so sad what we're seeing all over the place right now. Think about that. An area the size of a state is been toasted. Explosive fire activity in California. At least 5 people killed. Almost 700,000 acres scorched. 770 structures destroyed. And look at it. All this is just flowing and going all the way across Nevada, and then of course in Colorado we have some pretty good sized fires going as well. But there's fires all over the West right now, and lightning triggered, as well as other reasons for other fires out there as well. And we had talked about the helicopter came down. It was a firefighting helicopter. It crashed and then caused another fire. It's just incredible.
It really is, and it just keeps going on, and like it's a snowball effect.
Yeah, so it's interesting. A lot of people say, where should we go? Anywhere you go, you're going to have something to contend with in these times. Anywhere you go, even if you're up in the Himalayas and you feel like I'm isolated and safe. Well, we talked about a study that yesterday that says the Himalayas are ready for megaquakes. Megaquakes are going to be coming there. And of course, if you're in a mountainous area, things could come down on you. And then we have, as we're going to be looking at, hail that is bigger than like any hail that we've ever seen. You would talk about, orange or baseball size hail, and then maybe even grapefruit size hail. But, we have hail coming down that's even bigger than that. And that's because of the contrasts, the extremes when these fronts are colliding. It's just incredible, what we are seeing. We'll have all the links for you guys as always. So sad. While the West burns, we have twin storms heading towards Florida, perhaps Texas, perhaps Louisiana, Mississippi. We're going to have to watch them really close. And this they're calling gorilla hail. Look at the size of that. Can you imagine if that hit you in the head? It could do some damage. We've seen a lot of livestock killed by hail like this in different areas. And actually over in India, they lost so much livestock. But we've also seen it over in Ireland and in the UK as well. Everywhere, really, we're seeing crazy, crazy storms. There's videos here where you guys take a look at. And, right here is another big thing. And it's talking about all the damage to the crops. And we know we are heading for what's not going to be a good situation with the food. And this is over in China. Firefighters rescued 20 pet dogs trapped in water. And meanwhile, we still have this whole issue to contend with. Water levels at Three Gorges near maximum. The rains keep coming down, and that thing goes, and wow,
Yeah, I mean, it's really incredible what's going on. There's like a marked difference every couple of days. It's just huge.
Yeah, things are going up, up, up right now. The intensity of the earth changes is going up much higher. Think about consciousness and how consciousness affects the earth. Every cell in our body is affected by our thoughts. And of course, in a situation of cancer, what we could view as, cells gone wrong could end up killing the entire body. And mankind has most definitely been a virus to Mother Earth. And then when we see everything that's going on right now with the plague upon the land, all the rumors of wars, and the building of these negative events, saturating our consciousness, and it also affects the planet.
It does, and that's really important to think about, that how our thoughts really affect our body, and it just kind of goes out from us as like a big wave, just like this is kind of a huge galactic wave we have going on.
And this is over in Thailand as well. There's remnants of Tropical Storm Higos, which is expected to hit 40 provinces, and of course this will add to flooding over there as well. Everywhere around the globe, it seems that the food supply is completely under attack. And it was really, really sad. I was reading the comments from somebody that was living down in Florida, and they said, what I noticed the most about everything that's happened, in this situation, when they go around now, all the little mom and pops stores are, so many of them are closed and gone because of the economic devastation. And that's, I think, part of this whole thing. I mean, all we're going to have is just maybe one online place to buy things, Amazon, and maybe one big governmental grocery like Walmart, and then whereas all those beautiful little mom and pop stores that people put their hearts into, just they can't make it through these times with the economic impact of everything that's going on. So this is pretty wild. Now they so radically revised the hurricane forecast this year, and we've talked about the Gulf Stream slowing down. So think about the heat that's going to build up down there. Think about eventually the cold that will be coming to the northeast, and also, of course, over to the northern part of Europe as well, as this thing slows down. And now we got these two hurricanes, which right now, well, they're not hurricanes yet. They're just storm systems. We have Tropical Storm Laura and what's going to be Tropical Storm Marcos. It looks like they should be far enough away from each other at this point in time that they won't necessarily merge into one, and it wouldn't necessarily make a super, hurricane or anything like that. And both of these right now, they're not forecast to become very, very strong, but I wouldn't hold your breath on that, because we've seen so many things happen that typically doesn't happen, and perplexing, like, whoa, wait a minute, that was just a tropical storm, and 24 hours later it's a category 4. How the heck does that happen without some sort of amplification?
Right. And, is it just a bunch of coincidences we keep seeing, but how many coincidences do we need to see before we realize, okay, there's something to this?
So if we look at this, we see, over here, we should have one just maybe a little bit east of Brownsville, a little bit east-southeast of Brownsville at 8 a.m. Monday. And then we're going to have the other one just due south of the Everglades about the same time. So they should be far enough apart that they will be two systems. But, again, stranger things could happen. You can't really count on anything these days. It'd be interesting and curious because that'd be the first time ever on record that we have two hurricanes in the Gulf at the same time. Very, very wild scenario that we are potentially watching unfold. And, definitely keep an eye on this one on a regular basis. And it's not the case where it's always the wind. It's the water, especially to areas that are already saturated. So Tropical Storm Marcos forecast to move over or near the Yucatan Peninsula on the 22nd. As we see, it's going to thread that line. We've seen storms do this before. Of course, when it goes over land, usually they lose a little strength, as that should be the case with Laura, because it looks like she's going to go over Puerto Rico and then the Dominican Republic, Haiti, and then Cuba. But again, these are not normal times. And, we've talked about, could there be weather wars going on? When we see all the devastation in China, and then we watch things happen that, even the forecasters don't think they're going to happen.
That's right. And they've seen things these days that they could hardly fathom, a few years ago. And look what we have now.
And we talked about this on the video on Evolutionary Energy Arts, and 750 million genetically engineered mosquitoes approved for release in the Florida Keys. Yeah. It doesn't matter that we don't consent, right? It doesn't seem like anything matters what the people want. Even when the people overwhelmingly want something, again, it just doesn't feel like we have any form of government that is truly for the people and by the people. It feels like it's really just all about whatever the corporations want. Yeah, it's just craziness. It just feels like, we're in a big Resident Evil movie right now.
Yeah, and I understand they're letting these out, before these storms hit too. So that's really curious.
So the mosquito named OX5034, and I don't know if there's any symbolism in there. Ox 5034 has been produced female offspring that die in the larval stage well before hatching and growing large enough to bite and spread disease. Only the female mosquito bites for blood, which she needs to mature her eggs. Males feed only on the nectar and thus are not a carrier for disease. The mosquito is also approved to be released into Harris County, Texas, beginning in 2021. And according to Oxitec, the U.S.-owned British-based company that developed the genetically modified organism. It's a GMO. And then, maybe we should do a little research into that company. I wonder what families have say in that one. So interesting, guys. Thank you so much for your support on Patreon and Ko-Fi. Stay prepared out there. Stay safe. God bless and namaste.
Namaste.